Hi everybody, Brandon DeGaff here bringing you the final installment in the Playing with Madness tournament. If you want to watch the semifinal round number 1, you can do so by clicking on this link right here. And if you want to watch the second semifinal round, you can do so by clicking on this link over here. So, you know, if you've watched the other two videos, who won and how. So allow me to introduce the two teams in the final round. We have the Scientist Supreme in the black corner, which is Maul, Dr. Light, and Tony Stark. And in the white corner, it's Dr. Strangemaiden with Dr. Strange, Phantom of the Opera, and the Final Frontier. This match is being played on the Robinson Park post-Cataclysm map. And white corner is going to roll. See who goes first. They rolled a 6. Now the black corners roll. It's going to be an 8. Black team's going to go first. All right, to start, Tony Stark's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That looks like a good spot right there. He's going to take a token. Dr. Light's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Park right there next to Tony. He's going to take a token. And then Maul's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Picking up the heavy. 6. And parking himself right there. He's going to... Oh, he takes his token. And that will wrap it up for Scientist Supreme. Okay, Dr. Strangemaiden's turn. Start off the move with Dr. Strange picking up Phantom of the Opera and carrying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right into hindering terrain, and they both have stealth. That's a very good spot for them. Dr. Strange is going to take his token, and now the Final Frontier is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, he's going to be right behind Dr. Strange there. Don't want to keep him like a sitting duck. He'll take his token. That'll do it for Dr. Strangemaiden's turn. Well, both teams seem to lack Indomitable and Willpower. And Scientist Supreme seem to be in a position where they need to make the first move since these guys are going to be in stealth. But they're going to clear to avoid pushing damage. Dr. Strangemaiden is going to make the first offensive move. Phantom of the Opera is going to attack both Tony Stark and Dr. Light. He's going to need he has a 10 attack. Both of them have the +1 from the hindering terrain, so it's going to need an 8 to hit both. And let's roll the dice, see what he gets. And that's going to be a 7, not enough to hit. That misses. Phantom of the Opera is going to take a token. The rest of Strangemaiden will clear. That's going to do it for that team's turn. Tony Stark's going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and outwit Phantom of the Opera's stealth. Maul's going to perplex up Dr. Light's attack to an 11, and Dr. Light's going to do a running shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 attack versus an 18 defense to Phantom of the Opera there. Needs a 7 or better to hit for 4 because of the enhancement from Tony Stark. That's going to be a 7. 7 plus 11. That's going to hit. That's going to be 4 damage to Phantom of the Opera. It's also penetrating damage because the penetrating psychic blast. So we're going to click them 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set him down right there. Oh, make sure Tony Stark gets his token. Make sure Dr. Light gets his token. Maul's going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's going to do it for Scientist Supreme. It is now Dr. Strangemaiden's turn to retaliate. Starting off the turn, Dr. Strange will use his free action leadership to try and pull token off Phantom of the Opera. It's going to be a 3. That's going to fail. Okay. The next plan of attack for Dr. Strangemaiden is going to have to be the Final Frontier is going to use Charge on Blades on Maul. So he's going to charge right there. You got 10 to a 16. Use a 6 to hit. That's a 9. That's going to hit. Roll for Blades now. That's going to be a 6. Ouch. Maul's toughness reduces 1 of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he's on a beastly click right now. He's going to take his token. Dr. Strangemaiden's going to take a whack at Tony Stark there. 10 to a 17 defense. He's a 7 or better for 3 damage. That's going to hit. That's going to be 3 to Tony. Doctor Strange takes his token. And Phantom of the Opera is going to clear. That's going to do it for Dr. Strangemaiden. Alright, Dr. Strangemaiden's turn. Start off, Tony Stark will outwit the stealth of Doctor Strange. And I'm 95% sure this is correct. Dr. Light's going to running shot, targeting both Phantom of the Opera and Doctor Strange, since she has sharpshooter. And he's going to make a range attack to both of them. He's got a 10 attack to a 17 and 18 defense. Let's roll for it. That's going to be a 9. It's going to hit both. He gets +1 damage because adjacent to Tony Stark lost enhancement. Never mind. Let's go ahead and assign 2 to Phantom of the Opera and 1 to Doctor Strange. So 1, 2. That's just enough to KO Phantom of the Opera, just like I was hoping or expecting rather. And then 1 to Doctor Strange. That's gonna knock him on a super sense. And that's going to be a push for Dr. Light. He's going to take a click. And now Maul will... the rest of the team is going to clear. And that's going to do it for Scientist Supreme. Dr. Strangemaiden's team will also clear. Okay, time for Scientist Supreme team to make a big play. Maul has giant reach and giant size. He also has close combat expert. And he has everything within 2 squares of him considered adjacent, including Doctor Strange. And so what's going to happen? Tony Stark is going to outwit the super senses of Doctor Strange. Maul will use the close combat expert to increase his attack to an 11. And he's going to be attacking Doctor Strange for 5. With the heavy object in his hand. So, here we go. He needs a 6 or better to hit. It's going to be an 8. So, he's going to take items destroyed. That's going to be all 5 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, ouch. Doctor Strange is hurting. And Maul takes his token. Tony Stark is he's gonna swing. He's got an 8 attack and a 16 defense on Doctor Strange, so he needs an 8 to hit. That's gonna be a 4. That's a miss. Tony Stark takes his token, and that's gonna do it for Scientist Supreme. And Dr. Light clears. Can't forget that. Alrighty, Doctor Strangemaiden's hurting. They lost Phantom of the Opera. Doctor Strange taking a big crack. And it's really just the Final Frontier who's got full health versus the full roster Scientist Supreme. The first attack, you're going to have Final Frontier take his 10 attack against the 18 defense with Impervious of Maul with the blades. He's got Doctor Strange's prob as backup. So let's roll. First attack. It's going to be a 9. That's going to hit. He's going to roll his blades. That's going to be a 5. Maul's going to roll his Impervious. It's going to be a 3. So he's only going to take 3 clicks. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. And it's enough to KO Maul. Put a token on him. Doctor Strange is now going to attack Tony Stark. You got a 9 to a 15. He's going to roll. It's going to be a 6. That's going to be enough to hit Tony for 2 damage. That's going to KO Tony, I think. Yep, that KOs Tony. Well, look at that. Wow, the tides turned fast there. Alright, now for the Scientist Supreme turn. Dr. Light's going to use his ranged combat expert to pump up his attack to an 11. against Dr. Light's 16 defense. He's only going to need a 5 to hit. Dr. Strange is packing a prob. Let's roll. That's going to be an 8 that hits. Time for the second attack, because Dr. Strange is probbing it. That's going to be a 5. That's going to be right on the money. That's going to hit 3 damage, Dr. Strange. He takes 1, and he's KO'd right there. Dr. Light takes his token, and that's going to do it for Scientist Supreme. The Final Frontier is going to push and charge Blades against Dr. Light. Move right there, 10 to a 16. Dr. Light is packing Super Senses, so attack roll. 6 or better to hit. It's going to be an 8. Dr. Light Super Sense roll. A 1, he misses. Time for Blades. Final Frontier hits a 3. 1, 2, 3, and it's on Dr. Light stop click right there. Final Frontier takes a push. And that's going to do it for Dr. Strangemaiden's team. Dr. Strange is going to clear. Final Frontier will clear. Dr. Light's going to use Phasing Teleport to get himself out of dodge. Place himself right there and take his token. The Final Frontier is going to have to chase after him. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Take a token. And then Dr. Light will use Outwit on his charge and then clear. Final Frontier will move 1, 2. No. Final Frontier is going to stay there on and clear. Dr. Light's going to use his. He's going to make an attack at 11 to a 17 defense with Penetrating Psychic Blast. He needs a 6 or better to hit for 4. Oop, that was a really high roll. That's going to be a 7. Right there, it's going to hit the Final Frontier for 4. I stand corrected. It's actually a 11 attack on an 18 defense because he was in hindering, but he had a 7. 7 plus 11 is 18, a hit. And yeah, so the 4 damage is going to put him 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to put him right there. The Phasing Teleport of his own. Dr. Light, excuse me, takes his token, and he's going to outwit. He's going to outwit the Phasing Teleport on the Final Frontier, and it's the Final Frontier's turn. He's going to make a ranged combat attack. 10 to a 17 on Dr. Light means a 7 or better. Let's go ahead and roll it. That's going to be a 6. It's not going to hit. Final Frontier takes his token. Dr. Light again is going to he's going to make a ranged combat attack. He's going to need an 11 to a 17, so 6 or better for 4 penetrating damage. Here it is. That's a 9. That's going to hit. That's going to be 4 more damage to the Final Frontier. Penetrating. 1, 2, 3. He's KO'd. And Dr. Light wins the game for the Scientist Supreme. And here are the champions of the Playing with Madness tournament: Dr. Light, Maul, and Tony Stark. Hooray! Round of applause, people.